Stanley.
It used to be all, so, it's cloudy today. It looks like rain. That's how it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, they're spraying lots of crap in the sky. There should be some sort of man-made precipitation in 3 days from now. First they spray and then it rains, or first they spray and then it snows. I actually, my buddy, he was a pilot.
A real pilot?
Yeah, and he don't do that no more. But he sent me this link. I wonder if I still have it.
It'd be nice for you.
If I could share it over here.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a bioengineering link.
Well, that's a pretty.
It's a website where people can see where they're spraying and why, because here it is.
You got it.
It's called the geoengineeringmonitor.org.
Oh,
So I'm gonna copy that.
Major.
I'm gonna put it. Hi, Mom. How you doing today?
Doing good.
You doing good? Mom was asleep when I did my video earlier today. I have nothing else to do but just run my mouth right now. But bump my gums. I have nothing else better to do but bump my gums. So here I go. You know what? I can't bump my gums if I wanted to. My teeth are too pretty. I got too pretty of a smile. I got my mom's smile. It's too pretty. My dad could bump his gums. Okay, so where's my talk? So how you doing today, Ma? You just had some lunch, a little bit of tuna casserole. Yeah, a little bit of tuna casserole. Here, let me turn this down.
There's one up there that's purple, actually purple.
What, are you talking about the light?
About the lights.
People want to check that out.
Yeah, people that like, that are into their own protect. Oh, that is pretty. Blue and red and yellow.
We just watched the first episode of the last season of The Good Doctor.
Oh, The Good Doctor.
Yeah. It's a show I watched ever since season 1. I like the show. I can identify with the main character. I'm sad to see that it's going on. That it's. I mean, I'm glad. I think after 7 seasons, shit gets weird.
It goes down.
You're kind of reaching for storylines, so I think that's kind of like the sweet spot for a TV show.
Yeah.
You got the ones that are greedy shit, man. Their shit been going for decades, like that.
Couple years.
No, decades.
Decades.
Like several of them, like that SUV, like those crime shows.
Oh, the crime show.
Right. They keep getting their storylines from real life, and real life is just stranger than fiction. So people make a lot of money based on other people's misery.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross. It's just how the world is, though. It's the world is the way it is because ain't nobody doing no better to make it better.
They're not doing
I call today's talk content of character. Content of character. Now, people can look up their own version of what that is. Just put it in whatever search, look in a book. Look up content, look up character. Here it's what's contained inside something.
Oh.
Right?
So
everybody has the content of what their character is. Mm-hmm. Some people just act like their content is better than it actually is. You can lead a lot of people into believing certain things by saying next to nothing. Oh, there goes Stan Lee. There he goes, zip fidgety. I wonder if there's a lot of space juice going on today. If we're getting CMEs and whatnot. Let's see here. The content, or our character is our personality, but in particular when it is strongly moral. We that the content of one's character must be one of integrity, honesty, and justice. However, the content of one character doesn't have to be good, and people are finding that out. You know, they're omitting parts of themselves so that other people think that they're another person different. It's deception. Instead of not doing the thing that would disappoint the people, they just hide their creepy shit. Right? And then the people are like, la, 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 it's okay. It's all right. I love him. You know, maybe if I love him enough, he'll stop doing that weird shit. If I could love him back into wellness. Isn't that cognitive dissonance of its own sort? Thinking that somebody else is going to fix someone else? That is the silly. I've seen people try to do that for decades and decades. Have been trying to freaking fix other people. What they like doing is they like getting paid for saying, I care. That's what they like doing. Because if people really cared about people, they doing that. They do the act of service just because it's useful and helpful. But they got to get paid. Alright, and now that, you know, there's all this economic uncertainty, I guess that just depends on, you know, there he goes, boom, boom, boom. That just kind of depends on if, you guys want this cooler on? I brought the big Bertha out because it's going to start getting hot in here. Not today, but soon. It was stuffy yesterday. Tucker's going in his little dog kennel under there.
That's a special spot. He likes to.
So we were just watching I'm glad to see he and Glassy made nice. Glassy? Yeah, he and Glassy made. Oh, Ma, you want to say hi, Ma? Anyway, so should we talk about some of the ways the world's changing? I saw one report where they found the one pilot. I think I shared it on X. I think I shared it. A pilot discovered a plane that went down 10 years ago. Every time a plane goes down, I always think of Lost, that TV show on the island. Like, they're living that timeline. Like, whenever... I got a pretty wild imagination. Let's see here. The MH370 pilot said he knows where the missing Malaysia plane went. I remember when that first happened. Like, what? It just disappeared. Poof, poof. Is that like Philadelphia experiment shit? You know? I mean, the world is so woo-woo. And then people, even the people that, you know, theoretically should believe in woo-woo, they're even making declarations like, it's not woo-woo. Fucking everything's woo-woo, dude. Portals and shit like that. People walking into the woods in one decade and they walk out in another. This shit happens all the time. It's bizarre that so many people stifle the reality of it. To me, it's just causing trouble, Ma. Big power play. So this guy thinks that it was saw 227 passengers and 12 crew members, God bless you, vanished in 2014 with not a tragic accident but a deliberate mass murder suicide led by Captain Zahir Aham Shan. That's what storyline is. The veteran pilot said after 6 years of extensive research, he believes the site of the wreckage is near where the authorities search for missing plane. See, it's just like you got the people that want to get on the same page, so it's like, you know what? We're all in the same room. Let's make sure everybody has enough food. Let's make sure people are living, you know, in the conditions that they want to live. They got a roof over their head. You know, whether they want to travel, that they got a good solid ways of getting from point A to P. Let's make sure people have whatever they need, right? but this big old veil of lack that is shroud over these people that have inferiority complexes. They have the attitude like they gotta take Stanley's running back and forth. They gotta take everybody else's shit so that they'll be safe. And that karma that ain't good shit to do. You got to share in order to assure my safety in life. One behavior I've had to adopt is to help other people feel safe. Right? Because when other people feel safe, but people don't feel safe these days. Not even their Maslow's hierarchy of needs. People give a shit about hierarchy. How about that? How about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? You know, people don't even have shelter. You know how many people are born onto this planet? It's so nice that your mommy and daddy were both there when you were born, and that they created a little bubble for people to grow up in where they haven't been tainted or touched by the grossness of the reality of which this world is. How nice, you know? I always thought that was weird. Like, you put your baby away so it could sleep, block out all the... So you got to make conditions right. Whenever people are setting an environment where you got to make conditions right, you're setting a society up for failure to sustain those conditions. And whenever those conditions aren't met, everyone gets uncomfortable because they don't got their freaking soft blankie and they don't got their favorite slippers. And it's Tuesday and they're not eating, or it's Friday and it's Pizza Friday and they didn't get their pizza. So there's going to be unrest because all this environments are created that you have to have things this way to be happy. And so nice that people have created that environment. That's why we don't take medicine, Ma. We don't take pills. Right? Because we don't want to rely on, if it's our time, it's our time. And we don't want to rely on nothing that somebody can say, okay, you need this to live, but I'm going to raise the prices. I'm going to make it harder for you to get this thing. So, you know, thy will, God, not ours be done. If it's our time, you know, if we need something outside of ourselves to sustain us, it was a good run, eh, Ma? It was a good run. Been a good dog. Been a good dog. Been a good dog. I know there's a lot of freaking unrest. I just think that, you know what, Ma? I think it's catching up. I think stuff is catching up. Like, the gig is up. Like, all those people that had it real nice and they get their life experience too. You know, I know my whole life people have watched me. I've been telling stories like, dude, you know, like when I was a kid in school, I'd be like, man, it really sucks at home. You know? Like watching mom get, you know, like last night I got mom, you know, or I write stories about stuff that happened and people don't know how to respond to situations that have happened in my life. So I get ignored a lot. And there's a lot of other people that have had really shitty things happen in their life and they get ignored a lot too. All you got to do is look at somebody in the eye and go, you know what? That sounds like it really fucking sucks. You know? It sounds like you're going through a really hard time. And you can tell when people are going through a hard time, and you can also tell when they aren't. And I'm seeing a whole lot of situation in somebody's life. Well, they're a little too happy at the I'm going to use my discretion and go ahead and keep my mouth closed. But I'm just going to say, it goes to show, I ain't never had heroes. I have people that it's like they say things and I respect the things that they say because it validates information for me. And I really appreciate when people do that. The thing of it is, for the most part, the information that these people are just, they're putting out information, but as people, they kind of they're douchey. They're douchey and they benefit from the program. And anytime I see some people that aren't fucking really they're not willing to do jack shit for their own mother. And people like that, anybody that's not going to help anybody else, I'm like, dude, I surely have no chance. They will definitely not be of service and help me if I were ever to be in need. Yeah. They're soulless. They're soulless human beings. People that just ignore people, they got all the means, all the resources. They're the cat that likes to smell fear of the mouse, that just toys with it. They know that the mouse is scared, but don't kill the mouse because that smell will go away, and they like that smell of fear. There's people that love it. There's dudes that got ED and shit, but you freaking add some twistedness in there, they're just fine. A lot of people telling themselves weird shit in their brains out there, man. A lot of people are telling themselves that they're way, 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 way more important than they actually are. Or they're telling themselves they're way, 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 way less important than they are. The whole world's looking for that sweet spot, that just right porridge, right? That's not something that's given. That's something that you gotta work for. That's something that you gotta earn. There's a whole lot of persons on this rock right now. They don't know about earning nothing. Everything handed to them. It's bizarre, you know? Like, there's too much suffering out there for people to be having such a good time. So now what we see? The side effects of living that best life. Here we go, folks. The cream of the crop all writhing to the top. This is the best we can collectively do. It hasn't even gotten good yet. We're just right on the fringe. Oh, I'm going to stay home for a while, huh, Mom? I fought my wars, and I've been telling people ever since, hey, man, don't get caught up in their shit. We're past the point of no return now. I ain't trying to warn nobody or nothing. If anybody, I'm just here to offer my coping skills after the freaking fallout settles down. That one chick, they put her up. The chick that is the craziest thing. Anybody else following this Baldwin thing in New Mexico? I mean, for one, any state that glorified, the only thing that they glorify, it's like, that came out of this state is Breaking Bad, a show about junkies. It's so weird, man. The shit that people celebrate. The shit that people think is cool, you know? All the seediness that comes in with it, it's just so weird. Well, they don't got a whole lot going on in New Mexico, so the TV industry, movie industry, you know, everybody knows it's leaving La La Land, LA, so it's trying to land in other places. And I know Longmire's a show Mom likes watching. It was made here in New Mexico, about 77 miles south of where we live. And there's other shows, you know, but they were making that movie, that Russ movie with that scumbag. Alec, just, they all suck, but they all terrible. They're just, none of them are good people. None of them. When they've allowed themselves evolve what they've allowed themselves evolved into, that's not good people. Anyway, so some gun went off, or he was given the gun, and then he went and did his set. See, Mom taught me when I was a little girl. Thank you, Ma, for saving me from all this, okay? Because Ma taught me when I was a little girl things like, you don't point guns at people. Even if it's a stick. Even if it's a representation of, I am going to take out your light, you don't do that. So anything related to that, it became less precedence until I enlisted. I wasn't thinking I was ever going to be a part of killing people in places we had no business being in, because we had been in wartime, and this was before I met the cycles and stuff like that, right? So, So mom taught me the importance of not pointing things at people and not threatening people and not wanting to cause harm to people. All of those things. Well, all those folks in Hollywood and all these other places, they didn't take it as seriously as I did. So they perpetuated all these storylines, these industries, these corporations, these multi-billion-dollar industries based on nothing. All while regular people continue to suffer. And society's just okay with that. Now we're going to come into the consequences of people being ignoring other people, right? And that dude freaking, he profited it. All the shows that he was on for all those years. When I was 15, I remember when Beetlejuice came out. It was so cool because it was so cool. I loved it. That's when I first, found Harry Belafonte and that kind of music and went on down that trajectory and stuff like that, right? I can't even watch Beetlejuice anymore because of who Alec Baldwin is now. I can't watch old movies is because of who these actors evolve into, and I'm not in line with them, so I'm not going to pay homage with my time, with giving all of my present moments to them, because they don't deserve it. They don't, ain't going to stroke their ego, ain't going to get them freaking, residuals or whatever, while so many people are freaking just trying to get through every day, one day at a time. And so old boy shot, on the set, shot a woman or pointed the gun, and then a woman died in real life, just like on John Eric Hex. I mean, this happens all the time. But they don't go to jail. And it's funny because they're in New Mexico, and there's people that get shot and killed every day in New Mexico. This place is already the Wild West. You think that there's actually a border that separates New Mexico and Mexico? Do people really think that is a thing that exists? People are going south to Mexico it's a revolving door. I mean, they're like, all these illegals are coming into America. Well, you know how often Americans are going down into Mexico? Every day, all the time, it's a major business. It's all moving people around from one place to another. It's just, in these groups, it's okay, but in these groups, it's not. And it's also hard to keep track of which is okay and which is not, because the people that are deciding are constantly coming up with new rules and regulations, and then they get to decide who's compliant and who's not, and it's also confusing. Let your wildest fantasy of your future self drive you forward. Well, I don't know about that. Oh, on the talk I did earlier today, somebody introduced me to somebody that I never heard before named Terry A. Davis. And I went down an ant hole about this Terry A. Davis. Terry Andrew Davis, born December 15th, so Sagittarius, like you, Ma, 1969. He died on August 11, 2018. Better known as Terry A. Davis, was an electrical engineer and a computer programmer who created and designed Temple OS, the main operating system. Its development was extremely complex, time-consuming, and unusual undertaking for one person. Okay, so that's August 11th, 2018. So if I go albums, library by years, and I go back to 2018, and I go to March, April, May, June, July, July 18th. I don't think I took any pictures. 14, Yeah, I didn't take any pictures on the 18th. August 14th and August 22nd. August 14th, I got wasp medicine. I got bit by a wasp and it welted up real good. And then August 22nd, that was the sun in the backyard. When I lived in Salem, Oregon, I'm coming around. There's a point to this. Is because it was at that time I lived in Salem, Oregon. And this dude, when he died in the Dalles. And the Dalles is in Oregon. So I drove through the Dallases on my way out. So I drove through. So our energetic imprint is similar, right? We have a very similar background as far as I can tell from what I didn't create no operating system. I'm not a programmer. I'm the interpreter. I'm the person that explains it to other people. Or I'm the person that says, you know, it'd be really cool. But we both had a bachelor's degree, you know, in computer engineering. He got his in 1992. That's the year I graduated in high school. Well, and he went to University of Arizona. I did not. I was too busy living. He grew up Catholic, and he was an atheist for some part of his life. Proclaimed that he had been in direct communication with God. God commanded him to build a successor to the second temple. Then he committed a decade to creating an operating system modeled after the DOS-based interface of his youth. In 2013, he announced that he had completed the project, now Temple OS. Now I gotta go look at Temple OS. He died young.
Very young.
He got sick. He was it says here he grew up Catholic but was an atheist for some of his adult life, experiencing what he called a revelation from God. Starting in 1996. That was the year Grandpa died. I gotta scratch my back. He was admitted to a psychiatric ward approximately every 6 months due to recurring manic episodes. I wonder what astrological alignment that was for him. Like if they would have looked at that and then just gave him things like CBD oil, encouraged him to go on walks so he had positive reinforcements so he could be around nature and go get connected during these manic periods. To circumvent this shit, man. Don't just let people sit in their shit, in their energy. Get them fucking out and moving through their energy, for shit's sake, if people care so damn much. In March, he had that. See, it says manic episodes. That's what I call life force life force energy that just freaking circulate. I know, dude. I grabbed an electric fence. I got electrocuted when I was like 7, 8. And then I still some days I feel like I got electricity. I could feel the pulse. We always have electricity. Some days it's far more potent and I can't control the freaking flow of it. So I gotta do things just to freaking stay the fucking chill out so I don't use that and start some sort of havoc. And people like to provoke me, so it makes things even more fucking fun. Let's see. He had begun experiencing regular manic episodes and developed delusions centering around space aliens. It's all frequency, dude. It says delusions centering around space aliens and government agents. According to Davis, and look what's happening now. You know? I mean, probably wasn't wrong. That's why people are like, dude, this stuff is out there. Why doesn't anybody believe me? And then, because you're crazy. If that is like a reason why you're not believing, because they're crazy. Like, what is crazy? I think crazy is people that hurt people. I think that's crazy. People that cause harm and then get satisfaction out of it. That is my definition of crazy. Maliciousness. That's fucking insane to me. You know, watching people suffer when you have the power to help ease their suffering. I start seeing people follow me around in suits and stuff. And look at all these people that are clearing gang stalking and all that whatnot now. What matters is people got to find security inside themselves. Have a connection to something outside yourself that's bigger than you. It's like, you know what? I'm going to listen to this source connection out there. I'm going to listen to it. And when it says, hey, don't put yourself in harm's way, I'm going to go, I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. Hey, don't be selfish. Live a life of service. Does that mean you don't want me to buy that $400,000 car? Yes, that's what that means. You fool. Right? We all have free will. It's so funny. Mom she don't know it, but she's this author of this magnificent story that's folding out. As between the heart and the heartless. My brothers always made fun of me because I follow my heart, right? My brother was the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz play. He has no heart. He could have a heart, but he keeps acting like heartless do. And here's a funny story. Once upon a time, there were people that were taught duty, excellence, service. And they were told that you have to have pride and take care of your country. And you think this way, and anybody outside that, well, they're the enemy. Here is one. Here is the other. You could see the difference between the heart space. I did 6 years because I saw what bullshit it was. And this homie's still in the guard. Isn't that funny? Enlisted 1989. Last I heard he's lieutenant colonel. I went to his promotion and stuff because I was supportive, right? And then it's like, why am I supporting all these clubs that fucking don't do jack shit for me? And then I'm like, oh shit, you know? And then I started knowing, I said, Ma, people my whole life have been wanting me to endorse their shit. And I ain't doing it no more. And now what's happening is there's this great, only this revolutionary era, it isn't, for me, it's not brother against brother. It's brother against sister. The heart against the heartless. World War III, I've been saying it for years. It's the spiritual variety. Are you going to live for just yourself and do all those things that just make things just right for you? Or are you going to be willing to throw those dreams away? Give up a little bit of yourself to make somebody else comfortable. That's all there is to it. Everybody's going to come into that. Service for self or service for all. I don't really see anything else. I really don't. And when I see people that are more about themselves, Those are the NPCs to me. Yeah. They're just the little space fillers that are just taking up space, getting in the way of what other people want to do. Anyway. Hey, Busted Muffin. I already talked today. You know, maybe I'm feeling this juice like this other guy did, but see, I got positive outlets. I was just reading about this Davis guy. Soon, okay. I wanted to finish this because I didn't look up all this. Caused God to reveal himself to me. Soon after, out of fear of the suited figures he believed to be following him 100 miles south with no destination. He was being introduced to the world of synchronicity. It says after becoming convinced that his car radio was communicating with him, he dismantled his vehicle and apparently in a search for tracking devices he believed were hidden on it. And that's lack of faith. That's living from a place of ego. It's highly unlikely I would ever be found in a scenario like this because I'm not that important. You know? Like, nobody's gonna go through that much effort to give a shit about anything that I'm doing, and that's prevalent based on my numbers on YouTube and other social media outlets. He threw his keys into the desert. He walked aimlessly. See, he's probably dehydrated, and he wasn't even thinking clearly. You know? Probably had a magnesium deficiency. Like, these basic things that could, you know, I guess he was spending too much of his time. That's the imbalance. When you feel the energy and put all your energy into just self-serving, you burn yourself out. Let him be a lesson to me. He walked aimlessly along the side of a highway where he was picked up by a police officer, and then he escaped from the patrol vehicle, broke his collarbone, and was taken to a hospital. Distressed about a conversation over artifacts found on his x-ray scans, interpreted by him as alien artifacts, he ran from the hospital and attempted to carjack a nearby truck before being arrested. In jail, he stripped himself, broke his glasses, and jammed the frames into a nearby electrical outlet, trying to open his cell door by switching the breaker. This failed as he had been wearing non-conductive frames. He was then admitted to a hospital for 2 weeks. He had been generally pretty crazy in a way. Now I'm not. I'm crazy in a different way, maybe. He acknowledged that the sequence of events leading to his spiritual awakening might have the impression. That's what happened to me. It's like it was when I really started having my freaking like, whoa, this shit's crazy. You know, after we moved, and it was because my body got overstimulated, right? And it's happened several times in my life, but how many people do their bodies get overstimulated like that? Sure, maybe, but even if it's less, even if it's only like 40% out of 100, like how many people have had like a traumatic event where it's like, shit, dude, like that fucking changed me. You know, I hear videos about, like, the other day I heard one of these, this guy gets on TikTok and he's like, so I watched a guy die yesterday. You know, he was on a motorcycle. He didn't have a helmet. You know, he was going and a lady turned in front of him, you know, and the bike stopped. He didn't. And physics does weird shit to the human body. And the guy was probably pretty fucking mangled before he even hit the ground. You know, and then everybody was like, when shit like that happens, all you could do is just be there for the person and be supportive. and freaking love them while you got them. And just show them love on their way out. You know it? And these are things that could be easily remedied. That's how my sister died. Like, I think about that all the time. I think about the people that had to watch my sister die because of the choices that she made. Right? Like, it's our responsibility not to let our lives seep into the lives of others, right? But people gotta freaking feel like so much trash inside, they gotta freaking expel that trash outside, and it's not society's freaking, it's society's role to help you, give you coping skills so that you can keep in your content of character the contents within you and not let that shit seep outside of you. But there's people that don't, they just know how to fucking spend money. They don't know how to help people, and they've been in charge, and there's better people that have better ideas, and I'm one of them. What'd he say? Leading to a spiritual way might have given the impressions of mental illness as opposed to some glorious revelations from God. It would sound polite if you said I scared myself thinking about quantum computers, and then I guess you just throw in your ordinary mental illness. You know what's weird to me? People that don't have something wrong with them. Those are the folks that I have take up issue with more than anybody else. Why is that? And how come you're not doing more to help those that have struggled so much? Oh, they don't care. Reflecting on the initial episode, he said, I'm not especially proud of the logic. I wonder what happened that led up to it. What stressors? What, you know? You're a good girl? I'm not especially proud of the logic and thinking. It looks very young and childish and pathetic. You're alright, dude. And the Bible says if you seek God, he will be found of you. I was really seeking, and I was really looking everywhere to see that he might be saying to me. Davis was initially diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Is just the fact that he has highs and lows. Everybody should. And those that don't, how come they're not doing more to help other people that do? It's just people that have feelings and emotions. And how many people that don't have feelings and emotions? That's weird to me when people subdued themselves. And like, oh, like, I'm like, when I was a little kid, I had to go to the doctor yet. I was energetic sensitive, so I had a lot of earaches, right? Stuff like that. One time, I get earaches so bad, my ear would turn red. And you could feel the heat coming off of my ear. And to touch it, it would hurt. And this shit would always happen in the middle of fucking night. Mom would take me down to Shasta General in Redding. Right? And this one time, like, it fucking hurt for the, like, this guy was doing rounds with all these residents. He had, like, I'm not even kidding. He had 6 residents. So with him, it was 7 residents. It took 4 of those dudes to fucking hold me down. And I was 8 years old. Why? Because when things hurt so bad, you'll fucking do whatever you can to get out of the grips of what is trying to contain you. And I had the doctor in there, and they're like, "Wow, this is a really severe ear infection. Let's all you guys line up and you all look in there." You know what that fucking did to me to have that fucking old people in there, oh, this way, that fucking 7 times? I never had a whole lot of faith in doctors because they don't fucking care about people. You're just a case study and a paycheck. And now it's gotten completely gross. And for people to fucking take their elderly parents to the doctor, at some point, they're like elderly pets, man. You just got to make them comfortable. Do what they want as long as they're not hurting themselves and being pervy. Because ain't nothing worse than freaking a person that has had so little self-control in their whole life that they become an elder, women and men, that are always exposing themselves, putting themselves on other people. Because they don't have boundaries. It's gross. usually if people are taught boundaries and why you don't do that and why you do this and respect is autonomous beings and all that, it kind of edits that shit out. But you got too many people that just freaking enable and just want to just let them do whatever they want, and they turn into these gross pigs without any discipline and self-control. And now all the rest of us got to deal with the freaking trash inside the all the crap in their content character that is oozing out. You know? I've seen too many freaking elders. They're totally fine. They're totally cool. And then you bring the doctor into it, and then they start freaking dipping out. You know why they fade? People fade. Their lights go out is because they can tell. They can tell that their own kids don't want them around anymore. They can tell when they're used. They created you. They know you. They made you. They know you. And they loved you anyway. But that's all right, because you still got your house, right? And you're going to get all the sympathy, and all the people are going to come in, and they're going to say, oh, I'm so sorry. You're going to get all that pity and all that shit when it didn't have to be. It's gross how selfish and disgusting people are. Their own family. And then they talk about their family being the monster. I know there's a lot of people that have monsters as family members. I have a couple. But you know what? Best I can do to pay homage is not act like them. That's it. And not do anything to honor them as human beings. Don't act like them in any kind of way. You go, girl? She says, yeah, I'm in a mood. So I'm going to wrap this up. They later declared he has schizophrenia. Now, I think schizophrenia is people that are highly in-tuned vessels, right? We're all tuning forks. We all receive data, right? Your frequency. You know how many people listen to watch things, listen to the things that make them feel good? There's a lot of people out there. The people that make them feel, the things that they watch to make them feel good is twisted and weird and perverse and gross. That's a different story. But we all are just radios, right? And then there's those that are way more sensitive. Clairaudient, all the clairinaires. Right? You're receiving and transmitting data from shit you think you can't see. We all do it. Not all of us do it. A lot of us do it. A lot of us don't. People that don't do it don't understand the people that do. People that do it have a hard time understanding people that don't. The thing of it is that there's some rule of thumbs and guidelines and that have been put in place over history. And that is, if you get voices that are telling yourself to hurt yourself or others, it's a lie. Only voices you should be listening to are those that are telling you to be kind and loving and in service and not causing harm. So it's the way I see it. People have been trying to disprove me for a long time, but... Oh! So, like I said, we've been... Dude... Plastic surgery is so out of control. And I'm autistic. I grew up in highlights generation. So am I supposed to act like that people look different the last time they did? Because they did. Like, their faces are different. And are there not any good, like, plastic surgeons out there? Is everybody just a story of botch these days? It's bizarre, Ma. Like, you pay for that shit? That on purpose, or are you just trying to make the best out of a fucking shitty situation? Good for you. You know? Maybe that's more karma from people being selfish and gross. So, and then something about... I don't know, then he talks about Rage Against the Machine. I was never a fan. What else? Okay, he subsequently lived with his parents in Las Vegas and collected Social Security. After 2003, became less frequent. See, that's what happens when you wrap your processor around only one possible reality. People are better served to recognize that I have a reality while you're having a reality, right? You're looking up at me at a different perspective. You got Benny over here. He's having all these things are having the, and people keep acting like we're all having the same thing. Like we all look at the same thing in the same way. And that's just, to me, that's insanity. Uh-oh. I'm just skimming because this is a long article. Davis later proclaimed that he was in direct communication with God, and God told him to build a successor to the Second Temple and an operating system. And such references, biblical tropes, and are ambiguous to the OS. So many floods, landslides. The whole earth is changing right now. Bundle approach. She's got to cleanse herself from all the dirty shit the freaking people done to her by bombing her and just doing gross shit on her freaking land. After Egypt is a game in which the player travels to Burning Bush to use a high-speed stopwatch. The stopwatch is meant to act as an oracle. Oh, you're okay. He likened the process to a Ouija board and speaking in tongues. Yeah, I don't mess with that shit. Come on, come here. Come here. In the last of his months, he struggled with homelessness and incarceration. See, you don't break laws. It's that self-will. His whole fight in his life was against himself and just self-will run riot doing what he wanted to do. That's what happens. Davis traveled to California in April. He stopped in Portland, Oregon, where they informed him that he may be a threat. He stated that a willingness to kill if asked by God. See, that you ain't part of the right God. That ain't good orderly direction to freaking cause harm to people. That's what people get twisted. Is like you don't got that power to take anybody else, right? That's why all the military and everything like that is all freaking wrong, and it's being seen for the freaking obnoxious lameness that it is. And our readiness is crap, dude. You see that video with that freaking Marine that ran into the pole? Or that Navy seaman that ran into the pole? He was totally wasted and he just went conk. Yeah, no, he's just a fucking idiot. And those are the people that are protecting us. His final video recorded on a bench at the Dallas Waco County Library and uploaded hours before his death. He explained that he had removed most of his videos because he did not wish to litter the internet. And he had learned how to purify himself. At the very end, he states, "It's good to be king. Wait, maybe. I think maybe I'm just like a little bizarre little person who walks back and forth, whatever, but." And on the evening of August 11th, so that's 8/11, while walking alongside the railroad tracks in the Dallas, he was struck and killed by a train.
Oh, wow.
He could not. They couldn't determine if it was an accident or suicide. Boy, the paychecks people get for not fucking figuring shit out. I tell you what, it's almost like we all deserve nothing for all the people that get paid so much to do ish. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like we all deserve something for doing nothing. While people get so much to do right? Anyway. I think I've done running my mouth for. You liked my talk? Thanks, Busted Muffin. I appreciate that.
Busted Muffin?
Yeah, I think it's a funny name. Because I think of a busted, muffins that have seen better days. Yeah, so, anyway. But that one chick, her face looked different, and I was like kind of listening to it, but watching it, the Good Doctor, and that chick's an Aries, dude. She's an Aries, but I think she's a March Aries. I pay attention. Dude, people would be really surprised if they paid attention to people that are born the same year. I know two people. My friend got her her new dental piece yesterday or the day before? Or like she didn't get it because some places they pull all your teeth and then freaking slap that new fucking thing in your mouth. Like, and then it heals around the new apparatus. Because I remember when my friend was going through that in Oregon, she had her top teeth done. And they took them all out. You know, dental, I keep track of so much shit. It's bizarre how much stuff. And like how they do it. Because over here they do it this way, but over here they do it different. And they all freaking charge obnoxious amounts. Well, my dad just went through that. Mom, you ain't gonna go through that. You want to go to the dentist? No. I don't want to go to no dentist. I need to. Mom's teeth are out, you know. But sometimes, like, I just let them fall out. Like, you know, your gum will release it, you know. And how many people don't know is if you stop being fucking mad at your mom and dad for shit that happened decades ago, your teeth won't rot out as much. Yeah, it's a thing. And I can tell who has beef. I think I've done a pretty good job resolving any kind of issues I've had, you know, with the version of my parents that I was able to leave in the past, that I could be okay with them today, you know. Because one day if I get to age old enough, I'm going to look in the mirror, I'm going to look like them, and I want to hate the person that I am. And, you know, I had a lot of mommy and daddy issues I got to get past. You aren't going to see me 20 years old, 18 years old on the arm of a man in my 50s or 60s because I resolved those daddy issues. There's a lot of young girls out there that just, you know, have their daddies put this weird planted seed in their head and because they want to be the dominant and control. They don't want what's best for their daughter, and that plant seeds and make shit weird. And now all over, you know, I see all these old dudes with young chicks. And I was just like, well, I guess good for you old dudes if there weren't so many girls with daddy issues. I guess old dudes with soggy freaking ball sacks would never, you know, have these hot young dames on there. And they keep getting older and then they'll find another younger version. And then they get older, and then the woman that they're with gets older, and it's a sickness, dude. People don't recognize that. That's perfectly okay. Well, look at all the parents that just sign their kids away because they want a better life for themselves. It's very selfish. It's very gross. But anybody can have a kid, right? Oh, there's another misplaced O. Lost in the world, whatever is their purpose, whatever shall they do. Anyway. It's about all I got for now. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you have a rad day.